Hey, welcome back. Yes, man.
I'd have to do some deep research about that because all I'm seeing is all the things for the confirmation of 2023. I'm not seeing what happened before then. But I wouldn't be surprised if, if that would have been a missed opportunity back in the day, I think, if they were in Vegas.
I just feel like if they ever did it, why would they stop? Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you start?
Yeah, that would be my question. That would definitely be my question. I was excited. I was like, wait a minute. Never been to Vegas, always planned to, but always seemed like one of those things like, what am I going to go to Vegas to do? Like, I don't particularly like slot machine gambling or any of those table games. So, but now I'm like, and on the strip, it's not like, on a track, it's just it's a street course, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm amped.
Have you been to an F1 race before?
I have not. Which is, to be honest, I don't go to a lot of live sporting events. The way my anxiety is set up, like when I see a lot of people, nah.
Oh, is it?
Too many people in one spot. And I think, especially not doing it outside of Jamaica is even more nerve-wracking because I grew up going to sporting events in Jamaica, and that's a completely different like atmosphere than going to going to a baseball game is completely different than any stadium experience I've had in Jamaica.
Wait, what did you go see in Jamaica? What were you?
So we have this thing. Oh, we probably talked about this in Writers Club when you weren't there, but there's this documentary I really want to do, but I've talked to both my dads about this and my mom's, and they agree it would take a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of resources because we have this thing called Boys and Girls Champs, which Champs is like for high school athletes, the pinnacle of their career as a high school athlete. Making it to Champs is like your top sprinter in your parish or your county or whatever, and every top Jamaican sprinter or track and field athlete that's been to the Olympics has participated somewhat in Boys and Girl Champs. And
you had something called Champs as well. It wasn't called. What was it called? My brother would know. Something like the Borough Champs or something like that. They were literally, I remember being called Champs. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think it's the largest high school sporting event in the world, like every year. And for every single Olympian, and it's a lot. When you think about it, Jamaica has a lot of track and field athletes who have medaled in the Olympics, and that's a huge deal. For them to come from that one little island, and this is the feeder. Like that's the event that feeds into like pen relays and curve to games and world championships and all those other things. That's where you know who is going where. And I think it'll be first of all, an amazing documentary because you get to see all these Olympians and where they got their start. And then because there's so little known about, there's never been a documentary as far as we know that's been comprehensive in telling that story. So I spent my youth going to Boys and Girls Champs with my parents because they're really into track and field, and that's what they used to do back in the day. And it's a different environment going into like a Caribbean sporting event and having that atmosphere as opposed to coming to the I went to high school for 1 year across the street from Fenway Park. Fenway Park, which is like the baseball capital of the Northeast. When you think of, besides Yankee Stadium, which that's a whole other story. But it's one of the oldest baseball parks, I guess, in the world or in the United States, because they are the only ones that play baseball. And I never went to a game once. They used to let our school out early for the games because of traffic. And I went to a game for the first time, like in my 20s, in my late 20s. So it's not like, I don't know. It's just different. I never wanted to go.
Yeah.
F1 is different. F1 is literally because logistically, for
It's
me at
just
the
tough.
time, it
Yeah.
didn't make sense.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? Like, what's the biggest sport in the UK? I think is football. Like soccer, you call it soccer. I've never been to.
I don't call it soccer. Nope.
You don't call it soccer. So okay, let me
No,
say
I'm
football.
Jamaican.
Okay, cool. Football, right? So yeah, that's probably the biggest sport in England. I've never been to a football game. Like, I don't think I have, but I haven't. Do you know what I mean? I haven't been to a professional football game to watch ever. But I've been to maybe 3 NFL games.
How, Sway?
Doesn't make sense, right? So, so when I was a kid, I used to like football. Like when I was like anything from like 3 to 9 years old, and then after that, I just kind of got off it. And then I went to university, college, whatever, and I started playing. And I had friends from the UK that were playing for like the best team in the UK, or one of the best top teams in the UK. And then finished playing at university, and then went to play for that team. And then it was like international games. So I went to go see it. You know what I'm saying? And we had like free tickets to go to the international. So yeah. And also like, yeah, so I think that's the only like I've been to like, yeah, I think that's the only sporting event I've been to and seen live, like professional sporting. Actually, no. I think I've been to see like an MMA fight before. But anyway, what was I going to say? So yeah, that's basically it. So I haven't actually. I would like to see Formula One, but in my mind, I'm kind of like it's just gonna be a lot of noise, and like I'm not gonna be able to see as much as I see when I watch on TV.
That's the thing. In my head, I keep thinking it's not gonna be the same experience. Like I'm not gonna be able to see, you know, if I'm in the grandstand, I'm not gonna be able to see what's going on, you know, turn whatever because the view is blocked.
Literally.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Unless
they give you like a TV or something.
Yeah, unless I'm like in a box and it's not as much noise and the atmosphere is a little bit more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Controlled. Then I can handle it. But
or if you're in a pit lane, imagine that. That'd be cold. Just be in one of that. Or that'd be sick.
That's a dream. I'm glad you put that out there because maybe start manifesting towards that. I didn't even see my mind didn't even go there. Like to me, that's
I see it. I swear, like every now and then, like someone invites someone and just be behind the scenes, sitting next to Toto Wolf, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't know how to act.
And just be like watching everything happening.
What? I'd be like,
that'd be insane.
Like, I wouldn't know how to act.
Yeah, no, speaking of that, my friend of mine went to Bahrain, like literally the Bahrain Grand Prix just gone.
Really?
He was in Bahrain, but he was working like in bars and stuff. So he wasn't actually at the Grand Prix, but he was like working at like an F1 like after party type event. So yeah, it's doable. It's doable.
It really is. Well, especially now. I mean, the world is opening up after a long hiatus. Like everywhere's kind of open now. So yeah. I think the only Grand Prix I was like, wait a minute. So this photographer, F1 photographer, Kim Illman that I follow on YouTube, he's actually Australian. And I watched this video earlier about going back to Australia for the GP. And he was saying that you do actually need a visa to get into Australia, which I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't actually know that, because being an American citizen, I don't need a visa to come to the UK, but I was like, what? Hold on, it'll cost me $230 something US dollars to, it kind of had me thinking, I was like, I might have to skip that one.
I'm wondering, do I have to get a visa? As a
British citizen?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be sponsored in order to do that. Because
let's put it out there. Hey, if anyone's trying to sponsor anybody,
that would be nice.
Know that we're trying to get sponsored.
Yes.
For anything. I'll fly anywhere, I swear. I'll just as long as I get that lanyard and walk around.
What was pretty interesting is I didn't even realize that the whole incident that happened in Saudi Arabia with the explosion. It was actually fairly close to the track. I mean, that in and of itself is a little scary. I was like, wow.
I was surprised they didn't catch. Well, then again, they're like, this is not something we'd like to. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't cancel it because it didn't make sense. But at the same time, I was like, these people, like the people that are making decisions, are thinking about money. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, that's the bottom line. I that did cross my mind, especially when I was seeing all the updates about them still being in the conference talking about the incident and whether or not they would race. And I was like, well, if they're still in the room at 3 a.m. their time, like what could that conversation even look and or sound like? Because 3 a.m., what time are you gonna get up to race?
Yep.
So that was like a little like, wait a minute. This is more, this is not as cut and dry as I thought it was going to be. It's not as simple of a decision as I thought, because they're really, I'm pretty sure the drivers are thinking safety, and I'm pretty sure F1 is thinking, well, we still have to race. We have all these contracts. So,
it's
fly on the wall moment. I would love to have been a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Anyway, the last race.
Yeah.
We should thoughts on actually let's recap on that because that was like
painful on so many levels.
Say again?
Painful but good. It was painful but good on so many levels.
Yeah.
Like painful for, of course,
Lulu.
Yeah, oh God. When he asked the question, do we even get points for this position? I was like,
yeah, you get one in it. Just get one. Just get one in it. 1 point. That was painful.
Oh, it hurt my heart. My stomach hurt when he asked the question. I was like, yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you, dude. Yeah.
He doesn't even know what's so mad about it is he doesn't know. He doesn't know, which is amazing to me. He's like, what's that?
In that moment, I couldn't even question whether or not he was serious. I was like, well, he's serious. He's serious because at the end of the day, like, how often is he in this position?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think we should have known what was up during qualies. I mean, not being
able to. I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening with like Mercedes, especially because. Well, okay. So you correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you know more than I do, but I think he chose to do something crazy with his car. He chose a mad strategy during qualifying, something that Russell didn't. So the car had potential, but it's just like he made a choice and it took him out. You know what I mean, of Q1. Yeah. But it's kind of like I still don't understand why I still don't understand how that car is so like
different for him as opposed to Russell.
Not necessarily, but it's just not competitive at all. Like they are stuck behind Ferrari and Red Bull. It's like
not even behind Ferrari and Red Bull. They're stuck behind Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren at this point. Like when you really think about it,
McLaren's still trash. Where did Ricciardo and Norris finish?
Was it? What did they do?
Ricciardo was actually out. Ricciardo dropped out.
Yeah. He did.
But Norris, I don't know what Norris finished.
But I think the car, from what I gather, from what I've been gathering from the podcast and all the stuff that I'm reading, is there's no traction at the back of the car. He's having issues trying to control the rear of the car, which it doesn't fit his driving style to try to compensate for that. Whereas apparently for Russell and younger drivers, that's the case. Like they're more equipped to deal with a rear that is not as stable.
Okay.
I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that on a few podcasts that I can't even really remember. I should probably start making note of this. Because I just listen to them and they just keep playing, it's YouTube. So, but from what I gather, that's really the big issue is that they're having like serious issues with the rear of the car and the downforce. And I'm not sure if it has to do with like all the new regulations, if that kind of like, because it's a different car from last year. So I guess the question is, can they fix this, to be competitive throughout the rest of the season? If not, then,
Red Bull and Ferrari all the way.
At this point, I'm skeptical, to be honest, because, every year you hear going into it, we don't know what's going to happen. And, they tell you whatever issues there might be with the car and what they might face. But I think this year, when they kept saying like, yo, we really don't know how this is going to go down, like they were serious. They were not joking.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine. He was talking about how like Red Bull tried to get a lot of like of the mechanics or the constructors, whatever, from Mercedes last year. And they tried to get 100 and they got like 10. And Toto Wolff was like, it's fine. They didn't get, he didn't care. But apparently those 10 must have been some,
exactly.
It must have been
probably
important.
10 integral, members of that team that they didn't even think mattered when they lost them. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I feel like if they can get a good car, that duo, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, it's a dynamic duo. But no, it's a great team. It's a great, driving pair.
But I was really excited going into the season. But if you don't, I know I've said previously it's a bad workman that complains about his tools in regards to Mazepin. But in this case, like if the level is broken, you're gonna get a crooked table. Like there's no way around that.
Yeah.
And the car is just not reminiscent of what's been happening for the last few years. And now you're really seeing the strugglation of it all, because it's, for Mercedes fans, this is kind of like a slow death.
Yeah. And it's annoying. It's annoying to see like Verstappen win that race as well. And this guy's got no swag.
Yeah, at all.
He's just like, I'm really happy with the race, and that's annoying. But I'm not gonna lie though. For the first race, I was kind of like, the cars look slow.
Mm-hmm.
This is weird. But the constant passing, like, the decisions they're making in terms of like not passing each other at certain corners, so they get like double DRS or what? Like not double DRS, but like they just use the DRS in smart moments. They use the DRS to get close, and they stay behind, make the corner, and then they wait till they get the DRS. Let me pass.
It's really
that strategy is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably exciting. Just found out Norris finished 7th, so he did pretty good. I need to send you a video. There's a video of Norris after that Grand Prix, and he's just saying anything in his interviews. It's so fun. He's like complaining at the fireworks, like, oh, what's fun? It's so funny.
He is so hilarious. Like, I just find him to be just the cutest thing. He really is. I love him.
No, he's dope. He's dope. I want obviously Ricardo as well. Bloody hell. Guy's got the worst luck. I want Ricardo to do forward. I don't know how, but we'll see. Let's wait till he gets like halfway through the season, and then if Mercedes get their act together and like McLaren are competitive, then it's gonna be like, then I'm excited, because right now it's literally just Leclerc and Verstappen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unlucky Perez, but it's literally just Leclerc and Verstappen.
Pretty much.
And that is
pretty much. I'm like looking through my fantasy right now, and I'm
oh yeah, how'd you do in a fantasy?
100. So I have a total of 215, which is pretty good for me. Okay. I went into this blind.
Yeah, same. How am I doing? What am I doing? How many points I got?
Oh, hold on. How do I get to the damn view info page? Why can't I only see mine? I need a tutorial in F1 Fantasy, because I can't get. Hold on.
I think I'm doing good though. I haven't checked it, but I know I've got Perez, got Leclerc.
But I still don't know how to check it.
And I had George Russell as well, so I know I did well. Did I have signs as well? Man, my team's OP.
Am I going into the lobby to see this?
No, I think it's my games. It should be the middle tab.
There it is.
Yeah. They need to fix it. F1, wherever the app is, whoever's in charge of that, fix the app. It's very confusing. I've got to log in twice.
Yes, please, because I still can't find it.
You still can't find it?
Nope. I'm on
Let me check.
Teams, and then I
scroll.
go to hobby.
Scroll.
Well, no, my games. But it's
Yeah.
saying that there's like 1, 2. I didn't join all these leagues.
I'm using my phone to do the Zoom,
Okay.
so you found it? All right, cool. What's that? What is that?
All right. So it says you have 310, Ola has 242, and I have 215.
Wait, say again? What?
You have 310. So
Okay.
Ola has 242, and I have 215.
Ooh, I knew my team was cold.
The thing is, I have, after the first race, I went ahead and created 2 more teams.
Okay.
One of my other teams has, 147.
But then again, that's the first week. That's the first week.
That's pretty damn good. Because it has Yuki on there.
Oh yeah, where did you keep it?
Yeah. If you look at your fantasy thing and you're thinking, what did I do? Like, just stick with it, because last week when I was choosing this, I was like, this what the hell is this? It has Yuki, it has Pierre, it has Mick, Carlos, and George, and Ferrari as the but I'm looking at it now, and when you think about it, these drivers that people often don't pay attention to, because when you're watching the broadcast, did you notice how many times they like pan to the back of the field to see what Lewis was up to? And you're thinking to yourself, like, there's a whole fight happening, for first place. Why are we focused on the back of the field? Because one of the big games is at the back of the field. And then now I feel like it's Mercedes struggling has opened the door for people to focus on other drivers, which, it's crazy to say, but it's true.
Yeah. And it was so funny as well. I'm not sure if you noticed in the last race, like the battle between Alonso and Ocon. Like they made a joke about like the sponsors at Alpine, the BWT, whatever, because they were having their battle, but we kept on looking at them. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, this is great for the sponsors because these two battling within their team is like, exactly. You know what I mean? Keep focusing attention to it.
But even that though, what did you feel about that?
Well, firstly, this is a selfish thing. Like, Alonso's on my fantasy, so when he didn't finish, I was like, and when everyone, like, I feel like the whole thing of like these cars not getting to the end of the race, this is a new thing. Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? This doesn't make any sense. Why is that happening? But in terms of like the battle between them two, as long as they ain't crashing, as long as it's kind of like them, like, do you know what I mean? I think as long as they're not crashing or like ruining themselves, or ruining their race or ruining it for their team. Not like I'm an Alpine fan, but if I was, it's, you know what I mean, it's interesting because I think of myself if I'm racing a bunch of people I don't know, but I'm also in a team with my friend or someone that's like I'm cool with. Like, I'm racing the whole field, but I'm also racing my boy. Do you know what I mean? So that's like, it's also like an added thing. I like
exactly.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It kind of might be against the rules. It's kind of like, should you be doing it? I like that. Like, these guys are like, they don't care. They're just having fun, and I'm having fun watching it. So yeah, I like it.
As long as they don't crash, as long as nobody has to leave the race, I think it's good. It's always fun to see who's gonna come out ahead and where they're gonna end up. But at the same time, I think I would like to know what's going through their head at the moment. Like, is it getting ahead in the race or is it like beating the other person?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's both. Do you know what I mean? As a competitive person, I know that, I want to win, but I also want to do better. Like, even when I was playing American football, I was like, I want my team to win, but I want to get the most receiving yards. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I also, do you know what I mean? I want to, it's like little competition, like it's little things that you're trying to do within the game. And what I want to know though is what Ocon and Alonso did that affect? Like, had they not have done that, would Alonso have finished the race? Do you know what I mean?
From what I understand, probably.
Yeah. It's like, because if they find out
into question, like,
yeah, yeah, I was saying if they look back and then find out that that's the reason why he didn't finish, and then it doesn't happen again, that's gonna be so pooey.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I totally agree. And I think that's where team orders, the concept of like team orders came into play. You know, should they really like stepped in? And I don't think that's usually necessarily a good idea for them to kind of, you know, try to manage what these drivers are doing in that moment, because it might piss them off. You know, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
oh man. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, did you also hear about Lewis Hamilton? Lewis Hamilton came out, he posted something on his Instagram and said how, I don't know if he's talking about like super recently or like over the past year, how he's been dealing with like, I mean, stress and so on and so forth. Did you see that post?
I didn't.
No, let me try and find it.
Was it on Instagram? Because I haven't really been on Instagram.
It was Instagram. It wasn't that big of a deal. I think he was just talking about like dealing with like stress and so on and so forth. Just in life, struggling with mental and like struggling mentally and emotionally. But then the news spin it, it's like, oh, he's struggling mentally because he finished 10th. I don't think it's that. I think he's just talking in general. But that made me think: will this be Lewis Hamilton's last season?
Year?
I hope it ain't. I hope it ain't.
That it would be if they, especially if, you know, they can't like get their act together with the car by the end of it, well, not even the end, over the next 2 races, I would say, then I would hate to see him finish on this note.
Exactly.
But if he does choose to retire, I would completely understand. I get it. Like, he doesn't owe us shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't owe us a thing. And like, they're drivers who look at Rosberg. He won 1 championship and he was like, you know what, this is good enough for me. I'm good. Thank you and good night.
Yeah.
And
that's Rosberg. I hate Rosberg. So.
You know what's funny? It's time gives you perspective sometimes, because I remember a few years ago, if you'd asked me this question, I'd be like, oh, whatever. Later for him, you know, ain't nobody thinking about Nico. But as the years have gone by, I actually completely understand why he made the decision that he made, and I kind of rate it still, like on a different level. He grew up with his dad, you know, being a F1 champion, and that's the only thing that's the goal that when he started partying and, you know, his professional Formula 1 career, that was the goal, is to win a championship. It wasn't a race against Lewis Hamilton. Lewis just happened to be a part of his journey. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he just happened to be in the right space at the right time to be a part of. So if you look at it from Nico's point of view, like, it's his journey, like that. Yes, it was his greatest rival, but that was just a tool for him to be greater. You know what I mean? So him retiring after that 1 championship makes perfect sense now that I look back, because I'm like, that was his goal. He wasn't concerned with being the best in the world, you know, the best F1 driver of all time. That wasn't his goal. He wanted to win a championship, and he did that. So why risk life and limb after you've already achieved the goal to prove something to people that really don't matter?
And if it's like in your highest intention, you know what I mean, to like just do it, win your championship and move on. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. For me, as a fan, as like, you know what I mean, someone watching, it felt like this is like the pay, because he knows he comes back. Lewis Hamilton is gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally revenge season. It would have been like just as exciting, because like, imagine Max Verstappen won the championship last season, and then this season he retired. It's like, you're taking the piss. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? You can't retire after cheating. Not cheating, but like, cheating.
But look at it this way. In defense of, I cannot believe I'm saying this. In defense of Nico Rosberg, he also did another amazing thing. He carved out a chunk out of Lewis's legacy. Like, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it that way. Like, he literally went in, carved out a little chunk of that shit, and was like, I'm gonna take this and move this over here, and I'm gone. That's it. Because no matter what, Lewis will never be able to get that championship.
Yeah.
So another G move. I have to say, wow, I cannot believe I just said, and yeah, went into overtime on Nico's behalf. But I think now that he's a commentator and that, you know, he's doing these incredible interviews, I'm actually seeing him in a completely different light. And I now understand why they were friends for so long. Because I think also, you know, a lot of people probably missed that part where they were actually really good friends growing up.
Yeah, true.
Really good friends growing up. And I think as a Formula One fan, I would like to see them get back to that. I don't think it'll happen until after Lewis retires. And they both have been able to gain, you know, some sort of perspective on what their relationship was and what, you know, it became and what it could be. I don't think that will happen until after Lewis retires, but I'm hoping it will at some point, you know, like they can together and, you know, like have a good chat about it because it's important.
Do you think that will happen with Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen?
For what? What can you talk to him about?
I don't know. It's like maybe
that's a baby compared to Lewis. What the fuck are they going to talk about? Like,
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. Yeah, what I will say about Lewis Hamilton is this guy has like, he's just not pet. Well, old school as Hamilton was.
Yeah.
But like, he's just so mature. Like, it's like, you know, things phase him, but he's just got I don't know. I don't even know the word for it, but like,
there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, he's just so mature in how he handles like pain. He handles pain in such a like healthy way. Like, Will Smith should take a leaf out of it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's all that was. But I'm saying if Lewis Hamilton or Will Smith had a bit of Lewis Hamilton's energy in that moment or composure.
We've kind of seen our own Will Smith Chris Rock moment in F1. Like you remember last year that that Russell slapped Bottas in the head. You remember that, right?
Oh yeah. That was different. That was different.
So we've had that moment.
Yeah. But to this day, when I look at that, it looks like a kind of like, yo, man, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? It's not even like a, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a freaking smack. It was like a tap, like, yo.
Yeah, it was. It really was a tap. It was just a love tap. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to get us killed? Even though we've talked about that. Won't get into that again. But
that's crazy.
I think for a lot of people, like it's this whole, after I saw the slap, my whole thing was, one, real? And two, okay, for a person who always has self-control, this is a weird way to lose it. You know what I mean?
And a weird time. You chose this time that you always,
all you have to do was wait 10 more minutes. That's it.
Yep.
10 more minutes and you would have been home free. You would have been at the whole party slapping the hell out of him then. And ain't nobody would have heard and nor seen this. But bro, you couldn't wait 10 minutes? Really? What did he say? Like this, I had to go back and analyze what he said because I was like, I thought it was kind of funny. One, two, like people have said worse. And y'all ain't did shit.
And you know what's so funny as well? Like I think when people say things that warrant a slap, that's the time when we usually don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know I could, but if someone says something that's really kind of minor, like, that's, you know what I mean? That's not the time to do it.
No, it's really not.
And also, like, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about, like, he didn't do it out of hate.
Kind of like how he ended up in this situation, like, I can only speak for myself, but as a female, being in a relationship with a man that I care about, in that moment, he's not getting up. We all go, oh, what are you doing? What you doing? Sit down. Let your ass meet that chair. Not right now. We can handle this later. Like, not right now, bro. We don't need all of these people privy to, like, no, let's keep the home business in the home. Let's just wait a minute.
Yeah, and it's we'll bring it back to Formula One in a second, but I just wanted to say, like, you know, like when I look at those two and I think of how they speak about having each other's backs, and like we're in this together, right? And that kind of lion in the head thing
I couldn't let my man do that.
I was like, you don't have each other
in that down before I let him up on that stage. I am tackling his ass, football style. I swear to God, Ben. Before his foot hits that first step, I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. No, this is gonna make it worse.
Yeah, and that's having your man's back as well. Like really and truly, having your partner's back is stopping them from doing dumb stuff in your honor. You know what I mean?
I was like, nah, we're not doing this. Not today. Yeah. Not today. Like in that moment, I was like, I don't know about no other woman, but this woman right here, no, he's not doing that. He's not going to embarrass himself in front of the entire world. Not even just like this group of people. But this is being broadcast to like damn near every country in the world, and everybody's gonna see and talk about this and what led up to this. You think this joke hurt now? Watch when they keep talking about it for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It might be 200 years and more.
That's crazy.
Jada was nodding apparently. I don't know who said it. She was like, well, after like the slap, she was like.
Yes, there was an alternate camera from behind her head, and she was like co-signing, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like she is like literally co-signing this. Like that's this lady just sitting here co-signing the fact that this man just embarrassed himself in her name in front of everybody, and this is okay. I was like, see, this is why I said did nobody need to know any of this stuff that was going on with y'all. When they came out with this whole red table, I was like, we don't want to know. We care, but we don't. You know what I mean? Like, you know, care about your parents' well-being, but you don't want to know what the hell they're up to behind those things.
In-house and for the family. You know what I mean? Keep it in-house for the family. Other things, you know what I mean? You conduct yourself in the community how you know what I mean? Based off of how you know what I mean? The foundations that go on within the house and within the family. But it's like, yeah, man, like everything is out in the streets. With that family, man. I miss back in the day when, like, well, you didn't even know what the kids looked like. I remember, like, you didn't know what Jaden, Willow looked like. You didn't know nothing.
I remember.
I respect that. Because, this once you put it out in the world, and it's off of scrutiny. And this world will chew you up and spit you out for fun. It's crazy.
Yes, it will. Like, I and we'll get back to the race in a second, but for me, especially it happening between those two people. First of all, I don't think it could have happened to another comedian. I was actually talking to my cousin about this, and we were going through the list of like this had happened with anybody else, and I went down and I was like, so it could have gone in so many different directions if it was someone else. Yeah. You know, it could have been. First of all, if it was Tony Rock up there, it probably would have been an all-out brawl.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? I think there was a lot of reasons why Chris Rock, you know, was the only person that could have maintained his, you know, decorum at that particular point in time, because Chris Rock is an older brother. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of times when he probably wanted to retaliate, being the oldest myself, where he just had to like, you know what I mean, and have that kind of sensibility to know that this can't escalate further than this point. So
and also just another thing real quick, I was thinking like even though it was Chris Rock, if Chris Rock hit the ground, that's literally career ending. Do you know what I mean? Like for not Chris Rock, for like Will Smith, that's like that's more than, you know what I mean, that's terrible. Do you know what I mean? You could have knocked him out. And I'm not saying it was that hard of a slap, but you never know. That's one thing I know about like
you never know. You could have stumbled and hit his head. You never know.
Yeah. And that's like all of a sudden you're in jail and it's mad.
Well, something that you don't expect to happen. That's definitely not like the takeaway that I expected from that event. It being, you know, produced by Will Packer, and there's just so many things that Chris Rock opening his tour, like, you know, a couple of days later in Boston of all places. I'm like, wait a minute, he's in Boston, like, he's on the street like that. And just feeling like, I hope, to be honest, when I found out that the first show was in Boston, I had no idea. And I was like, I hope Boston actually really shows out and shows him, like, some type of support, because there were questions here about whether or not it was real, that it was staged. And I'm like, what Black man would agree to do that on camera?
That doesn't
On
make
purpose?
sense.
For what? Like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, for what reason? And then having to be humiliated in front of the rest of the world. I really hope they show him that he's a valued member of, the comedic community, and that we see and hear him. And they did. And I'm proud of that. I am proud of that. I am waiting to see, because we keep talking about repercussions for Will Smith. I'm waiting to see what that, looks like. I know, because
either way it's sad. Either way it's sad.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I thought. This is sad. Because I think both of them are icons and both of them are legends. Either way it's sad.
Yeah, it is.